The Meg is really not that bad of a movie, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. So with The Meg 2 coming out later this week, I figured it's finally time to go and watch The Meg for the first time and really get to see what a 75-foot shark versus Jason Statham really does look like. And honestly, the movie really isn't too shabby. And first, I'm gonna get into some things I think the movie did well. Oh, and also everybody, stay tuned till the end of the video. I'm gonna give you my favorite kill of the movie. The first positive for me that I wanna mention is just this underwater research station. I think they did a really good job designing this set. I think it looked good throughout the movie. Yeah, it's not unique, but it does fit really well into a movie like this. I don't know about you guys, but I've always had a fascination with creatures in the deep depths of the ocean. It's kind of like space to me, and it's always something I've had a fascination with learning more about. So anytime they explore that in this movie, I enjoy it. I also have to mention I've always had a fear of the deep ocean. That probably comes from growing up in Northern California, and as a kid, you're pretty much always told, oh yeah, you know, out there, there's giant man-eating sharks that kind of roam these waters on a regular basis. Not a big deal though, have fun, kids. So that's probably just a part of it. My point is that the deep depths of the ocean in this movie, I personally find very terrifying. I'm sure a lot of you do too. There were some genuinely tense moments like that throughout the movie where a person is like in the middle of the water just floating there. They can't see what's beneath them. The camera's kind of going up and down, above and below the water, and you can just kind of almost feel yourself being there. Especially in the middle part of the movie, there were quite a few moments like that had me clenched up pretty tight. I also have to point out that the shark in this movie actually looked pretty good. It didn't look overly fake in certain scenes. There was one small little scene in the entire movie that did look a little bit iffy, but overall, the shark in the movie actually looked really good, which was pretty surprising to me. I know it's kind of an overdone trope at this point in movies to have a kid who's there to kind of show the human side of our kind of gruff hero in the story, but I did enjoy the little girl. I thought she did a really good job in her role. I thought she had some genuinely funny moments in the movie, like when Jason Statham was like, I'm not crazy, I've just seen some things that other people haven't seen. And the little girl's like, sir, I'm pretty sure that's the definition of crazy. And my last positive that I want to mention is the action in the movie. I actually genuinely enjoyed it. I wish I would have seen it on the big screen. I thought it was well done. I didn't think the CGI was too overblown, and I just overall liked that part of the movie. Next, I want to talk about something in the movie that is mixed to me, which is the plot of the movie. It's not necessarily bad, but it definitely doesn't count as a good for me. It's just the story that's very generic. You've got a character who something happens to him in the beginning of the movie. He's got PTSD from that instance. He's kind of off in a far exotic place. He sends some people down there to bring him back. He's drinking too much. He turns you down several times, but eventually you give him this overly dramatic story to pull on his heartstrings that eventually gets him to come back and save the day. It's something we've seen a million times. I'm not necessarily, like I said, gonna knock the movie for this. This kind of sums up the movie in general. Obviously, it's the plot of the movie. And I grew up in the 90s, a ton of kind of action movies surrounded by stories very much like this. So, but it's definitely going to fit in the mixed category for me as just the overall plot of the movie. Now to get into the bad. Now, and for me, not to spoil too much, but I would have preferred there to be way more humans being eaten, especially in the first half of the movie. I know this movie's PG-13, and that's a big part of the reason why it made so much money. I get that. But selfishly, for me, I wish the movie would have been rated R and would have been way bloodier. Also, quit trying to be coy with what this thing is in the first half of the movie. Obviously, if you've seen the trailers, you know what it is. But if you haven't, the movie is literally called The Meg. So come on. I mean, this isn't Jaws. This doesn't have those fantastic characters and storyline and ambiance and that type of a movie. Just give us more of the shark. Don't try to hide the shark. Just give us more of the shark. And maybe I'm a sick fuck, but I want to see more blood, more gore, more humans being eaten, more limbs, more things like that. But I get it. That's less lucrative. That's going to put less people in the seats. But this is my review, and that's just something that I would have preferred to see in the movie. But I will point out, fortunately, we do get quite a bit of carnage towards the end of the movie. This shark does tear some shit up towards the end. So that was kind of nice. I love when the scientist is like, oh, hey guys, by the way, the Megalodon is right over there and just tore 3 boats apart in like 7 seconds. And then everyone on the boat just kind of looks at each other like, let's go over there with our boat. And I'm like, what is happening here? Who's in charge? What is going on? One of the dumbest moments in the movie is when they tell one of the characters to just like go swim out there and put the tracking beacon on the fish's fin. We don't even know if the fish is still here anymore, but just go like swim. You know, you don't need a boat. You don't need a submarine. You don't really need any like weapons or anything like that. Just put on some flippers and just go swim, you know? Let's just go see what happens, right? So the character just like goes and swims out there, and we don't even know if the Megalodon's still around. I mean, this thing's huge. It could be like 10 miles from here, but just go swim out there. Oh, regardless, there could actually be other sharks around too. That's a possibility, but who cares? That moment is so ridiculous, you can't help but laugh your ass off. Another negative that I want to mention, I don't want to be overly harsh here or too mean, but I am reviewing the movie, so I'm going to give you my thoughts on certain things in the movie. And basically any scene with the character Suyin in the movie just wasn't that good. Any scene where she was kind of running the scene or a big part of the scene really just didn't do it for me, especially that scene where she walks in on Jason Statham and he's like just out of the shower, half naked kind of a thing. The entire scene just felt awkward and just kind of cringe and just not good. And like I said, I don't want to be overly critical or mean to the actress, but didn't like her character very much. Now, the next negative that I want to mention is the cast in the movie. And I know for a lot of you, this might be a positive because the cast is so ridiculous. But it's like, who even is this cast? It's like the casting directors were like, okay. Who would be believable as scientists or just people working in this operation? Let's go ahead and choose the exact opposite. Either that or the production was like, who are the most recognizable faces we can get who are also the cheapest? Like you've got Ruby Rose in this movie who stands out as a character. It's just like, what are you doing? And like I said, that might be a positive for you, a lot of guys, because it's very, very cheesy, but it's like, what are you even doing on this boat? And also, why is your hair always so wet and so greasy? Like you're not a diver. What are you doing? How much hair gel did you bring on this damn boat? These are not believable on this type of an operation at all. Like I said, might be a positive for some of you guys, but for me, they weren't overly funny or overly ridiculous. It just felt very, very unbelievable and weird. Speaking of the cast, the acting in this movie is not exactly a beacon of light in the movie, especially coming from those characters who you can clearly tell were more so casted based off of the way they look instead of just their acting chops. Also, you had characters in the movie who you could tell were supposed to be kind of those funny characters with some comedic relief at times, but they weren't really that funny. Like the lines didn't hit for me. I'm kind of a hard audience a lot of times when it comes to comedy, and overall just the acting in the movie was a little bit distracting at times. And anytime the acting is distracting and takes you away from the moment, that's a little bit of a negative for me. And here are my final thoughts on The Meg. I think if you subvert your expectations and expect a B-level movie with an okay cast and decent action in the movie, I think you're gonna have a good time. And that's what happened to me. I had a good time watching this movie. It wasn't a complete waste of 2 hours or anything like that. You know, I had a pretty good time. This movie is not necessarily bad, but it's not necessarily really good or anything like that. It's just an okay, decent time. So if you subvert your expectations and go into it with a clear idea of what you're expecting, I think you'll enjoy the movie. All right, like I promised at the end of this video, I would give you my favorite kill of the movie, which is the crew member named The Wall, the one who takes the picture in front of the shark and then falls into the water and then gets eaten. It's just an epic scene. I love how the shark jumps out of the water, eats him, and then bites the other Megalodon on top of the ship and just wreaks havoc. I just love that scene. Even though you know that he's going to be eaten, you're fully expecting that to happen during that entire sequence. I just enjoyed it. Plus, it kind of reminded me a little bit of, Wedding Crashers with Will Ferrell, that part where he's like, honey, take a good picture. Oh, I'm dead. But there you go. That is my review of The Meg before The Meg 2 comes out later this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, be on the lookout for new videos, which come out every single Friday. But anyways, I'm Matt McFarland, and thanks for watching. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and also follow me on social media. All of my links will be down below in the description if you want to go and do that. Like I mentioned, be on the lookout. New videos every single Friday. But anyways, everybody, take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.